Usage du présent du subjonctif par rapport à l'infinitif. So now we are going to talk about when you would use the present subjunctive and when you would use the infinitive of some of the same expressions. It's important to understand that the expressions and verbs used with the présent du subjonctif can also be used with the infinitive. What is going to change is the situation under which you use these two types of expressions. When you need to choose whether you're using the present subjunctive or the infinitive, what you have to look at is who is or who might be doing your action. So when we are dealing with impersonal expressions like il faut, il est nécessaire, il est important, il est douteux, all of those impersonal expressions that you have on your list, you're going to use the présent du subjonctif if there is a specific person or group of people who might be doing the action. So, like my mom wants me to do something, that's going to be the présent du subjonctif. You're going to use the infinitive if the action is for everyone in general, all right? So if you want to say, it is important to do your homework, meaning everybody, it's important to do your homework, that's going to be in the infinitive. But if I say it is important that you do your homework, and I'm specific about the fact that I want you in particular to do it, then that's going to be the subjunctive. So here's the difference when you're making your sentence construction. We already know that if you're going to use the présent du subjonctif, that we are using que after our expression. For the infinitive, instead of que, most of them use de. The exception to this is il faut. When you use il faut, it is followed directly by the infinitive. There's nothing in between. So for example, il faut faire les devoirs. But il est nécessaire de faire les devoirs. And again, those would be general, everybody needs to do it types of situations, whereas the présent du subjonctif is going to be specific as to who is doing them. So again, here is another list, same expressions, but changing the que to de if we're going to use the infinitive here. Same thing with these expressions. Now, when we start talking about the verbs that we learned last time, these are not the impersonal expressions. Remember that impersonal expressions usually start with il est. It is blank that, right? It is necessary that, it is important that, it is essential that, it is doubtful that, etc. When we're using our verbs that we did last time, you can also use those verbs sometimes with the subjunctive and sometimes with the infinitive. And here's the difference. You're going to use the présent du subjonctif if the person who has the desire or motion or opinion is different from the person who might do the action. So my mom wants me to do my homework. I want my sister to leave me alone. Those kinds of sentences are going to be in the présent du subjonctif. But you're going to use the infinitive if the person who has the desire, emotion, or opinion is the same person who will be doing the action. These are two verb sentences. You've been doing two verb sentences forever. Okay? I want to do my homework. We want to go to the beach. I have to do something. I'm going to do something. They're just two verb sentences. So again, these are two verb sentences where it's the same person. Okay, the same person who wants it, needs it, feels a particular way about it, and the person who does the action, they're all the same person. The présent du subjonctif is saying someone wants someone else to do something. When you're using the présent du subjonctif, each verb is going to be followed by que, and we've talked about that. That's rule number 2, right? You've got to have two clauses, two different subjects, then they've got to be connected by que. So you have to make sure that each verb is going to be followed by que. When you're going to use the infinitive, some verbs use de before the infinitive, and some verbs don't. And you already know some of the verbs that don't. All right, you know that it's vouloir and aller and devoir and pouvoir. All of those are followed directly by the infinitive. So here are some of the verbs that were on your list last class that are followed directly by the infinitive. Adorer, aimer, croire, désirer, détester, espérer, penser, préférer, souhaiter, vouloir. All right? And we're just dealing here with verbs that have desire, emotion, opinion that would be possibly in the subjunctive. So you'll notice aller isn't here. Aller is obviously automatically followed by the infinitive, but aller is not ever going to indicate the subjunctive, so it doesn't matter. These verbs are followed by de before the infinitive. Avoir honte, avoir peur, être plus emotion, recommander, refuser, regretter. Okay? So this is really important, again, to make sure that if you want to say, I am ashamed of doing something, okay, j'ai honte de before the infinitive, all right? Avoir peur de, être émotion de, okay? Je suis contente de faire une croisière, okay? I am happy to go on a cruise. So here are some examples. My mom wants me to do my homework. So this is not an impersonal expression, it's a verb. We have our two separate subjects. So this is going to be in the subjonctif because we have our desire here and we know we need desire. So, ma maman veut que je fasse mes devoirs. I want to do my homework. Again, it's a verb, not an impersonal expression. But now it's I, and who's going to be doing the homework? I am. So I'm going to be using the infinitive here. Je veux faire mes devoirs because vouloir does not require anything before the infinitive. I refuse for my parents to go to a party. Je refuse que mes parents aillent à une fête. Right? Again, refuse, that's definitely desire, right? Then we have I versus my parents. So we're going to use the subjonctif. My parents refuse to go to a party. Don't we always wish when we're teenagers? Mes parents refusent d'aller à une fête. Because here's parents, they're refusing, but they are also the ones who might be going. So there we're going to have followed by the infinitive, and refuser is one that uses de before the infinitive there. So your practice tonight is not in Conjuguemos, it is in Quizlet, so that you get a sense of the vocabulary, making sure we know what all of these words actually mean so that we can use those expressions.